Jessica, Jessica.
Jessica, and how old are you, Jessica?
I am 31. I grew up very old-fashioned, like, I guess you'd say. I worked a lot. My parents owned rent houses. We had kennels. I remodeled houses. I could probably build a house right now if I wanted to by myself. Like, that's how serious it was.
What happened in high school?
I was in a traumatic situation where I had a sawhorse thrown at me, and my head was busted all the way up. I had to have 17 staples in my head, and whenever I got the staples taken out of my head, I left home because of the situation. And I got mixed in with the wrong crowd, I guess you could say. I was 16 or 17 years old. I mixed in with the wrong crowd, really. All we did was party all the time, drinking a lot and doing cocaine and popping pills, just partying all the time.
And that all started around 16? Okay.
Did a lot of ecstasy and a lot of Roxy's, oxycodone.
16. Was there anything like gateway stuff? I know we talked a little bit about that, and you hear a lot about that in the news and stuff. You got, with the whole medical marijuana and all that kind of stuff that's going on. A lot of folks are concerned about gateway stuff, and you always hear marijuana being a gateway. Was there any kind of gateway stuff that led up to it, or?
I smoked a lot of pot, but I wasn't really a pothead. It was just partying as a whole. I think that I don't think that anything was one led to another. It just kind of all came at once. Well, I ended up leaving high school. Mostly because I had to pay bills. I got cleaned up so that I could go into the military, and I went to Meth and found out I was pregnant when I was about 18 and a half or so. So I got clean again, stopped doing drugs, and then I had my son. And then finally I was able to enlist in the military because, the military was always my dream. Being a combat medic was what I was going to do with my life. So I kept telling myself, well, it's going to be fine. I'll leave my kids with my mom, and we'll do this and I'll do that. When I come back, we'll have this great life. Well, I got there and I couldn't do it. Why am I here and not at home with my children? So I broke all the rules, every rule that they had. And I got kicked out. Then I came home. My kids barely knew who I was. And I left and started getting high again. Oh, when I was 17, I had got a benign bacteria that belongs on the surface of your skin inside my bloodstream. And I had cellulitis, and I blew. They had to cut open my hand and clean it out because I guess I had used the same needle too many times. I don't know. I never did cocaine again after this happened, never. Because cocaine was, not because drugs were bad, but because cocaine was a drug that you had to do more of on a more constant basis in order to keep your high. So whenever I started shooting up methamphetamines, it was like...
Whole new ball game.
Yeah, it was one shot a day, you're good, and you stay high all day long. The first time I was really introduced to methamphetamines, I was smoking it, because I really didn't want to get back to using a needle because of my past. But after so much time of doing it, it was like you just couldn't get high anymore. I resorted to shooting up, and when I started shooting up, like I said, it was a whole new ball game. It's completely like, I don't know, it just grabs hold of you. I started shooting up methamphetamines And then I learned how to make it. Then my household became like the same like 17-year-old parties that I used to have back in the day. Like, it wasn't cook dope and go sell dope to people on the street. It was cook dope and let's have a party. I gave a friend of mine my recipe for the meth that I was making. He could not handle it and got high, made it, got high, made it, got high, until he woke up one day after having crashed out, and his he ate something and his stomach twisted and he died. So I have never made dope since then. I requested to be committed for all of the fines that I owed Pulaski County. And so, I mean, I went in full, like my whites, all my whites. I went in with everything, and I had 2 pairs of socks on, like I was ready to go to jail. Like, that was my plan on getting my shit together, was I was going to jail. So I went to jail, and I was locked up for probably about 4 months, 3 or 4 months. And I paid off Pulaski County, and I still owed Bologna and Sherwood some money. And my mom had called them and contacted them so that I could get into court with them while I was in Pulaski County so that I could run my fines concurrent. And then while I was in Pulaski County, he served me with papers from my kid's dad for emergency custody of my kids, of our kids, I guess I should say. So I got into court with Sherwood and Bologna, and I asked to be released, on a payment plan for the rest of my fines. And they agreed to let me go under the circumstances. So I worked 6 to 2 Monday through Friday at McDonald's, and I worked 3 to 6 weekdays at the daycare with the school-age children. We played kickball. It was great. And I hit the library really hard, and I answered the motion myself. I answered everything in the affidavit of facts, everything that they did. I wrote everything handwritten, pro se, did it all by myself. And after I filed it and my kid's dad talked to his lawyer, they decided not to move forward with trying to take my kids away. A really close friend of mine that was with me through some of the rough days of cooking and all that stuff earlier in 2011-ish. I called him instead of calling somebody else, and he answered the phone. Thank the Lord. He answered the phone, and he came and got me, and I stayed with him for a little while, and he introduced me to Narcotics Anonymous. I was not ready to be clean. I thought I was. I still had a lot of resentments towards myself for my failure at parenting, failure at my career choice, failure at, I thought I failed at college. I was able to go back and finish my degree. But I was still angry with myself. I had a lot of resentments, and that is one of the biggest things that will hold you back in your recovery. That's why the 12-step program is there. So I picked up my 90-day key tag from NA, and then I got high, like the same day. And that was at the end of 2012. I stayed high all the time, but I finished college.
What did we get our degree in?
X-ray medical technician.
Awesome.
But they wouldn't let me take the AR, whatever it is, the X-ray exam, the national X-ray exam, because of my felony.
You've been clean now for 4 years?
4.5 years.
4.5 years. Awesome. What was kind of the what made you finally decide, you know what, I'm done, we're not doing this anymore? What was kind of the determining?
So yeah, my mom messaged me in the beginning of the year, and it took me about 4 months to get to where I was going, but I knew that that's where I was headed. In Narcotics Anonymous, it tells you a lot of really, really good stuff that you need to know. Okay, and it says that you know, if you continue to use, if you continue to get high, and you continue to mess up in your life like that, you're going to end up in jails, institutions, or dead too.
So the rehab facilities and stuff like that, they...
No, I don't. I mean, the idea is good. For some people, it works. For me, being rebellious from childhood,
Sure.
For me, a person that was never really felt like she was a part of anything specific. You know, I've been in a lot of things, but I've never felt like I was a part of them.
Right.
So going into a facility and trying to participate and be a part of this thing that they got going on and trying to do it their way was not really, I knew it was never going to work for me.
You know, you see, like, whenever they show these rehab facilities on TV and stuff like that, they show these nice, like, resort style, you know, up in the mountains or out on.
Maybe if you're a billionaire, you know.
They're not practical for everyday middle class folks, I'm assuming. I don't know what insurance covers or what the costs are or anything like that. I mean, what have you?
Well, I will tell you this, and this is completely insane. There is a system going on in between California and Arizona that I'm sure of, where they will enroll somebody for rehabilitation, get the insurance money. They stay about 2 weeks, they leave. The insurance money pays out anyway. The people who run the facilities are paying out money to these addicts. These addicts are then using the money, going and getting high and going into another facility and doing the same thing and getting insurance payouts. So a lot of, I don't know, to me, a lot of the rehabilitation, everybody's twisted. I have never seen an addict get clean unless they wanted to get clean.
They've got to want it on their own. No.
There's no way. There's no system. There is no miracle cure for addiction. Okay, you have got to hit your rock bottom. You have to be done. Okay, and once you're done, then you can take steps to heal yourself on the inside.
Sure. What would be kind of encouragement would you offer to others that might be battling?
I guess my policy really is just to keep moving forward. I mean, you have to look at the things that have happened in your life in order to move past them. But once you let go of that stuff, you have to not look back anymore.